How long wilt thou forget me, O Lord? Forever. How long wilt thou hide thy face from me? How long shall I take counsel in my soul, having sorrow in my heart daily? How long shall mine enemy be exalted over me? Consider and hear me, O Lord my God. Lighten mine eyes, lest I sleep the sleep of death, lest mine enemies say, I have prevailed against him, and those that trouble me rejoice when I am moved. But I have trusted in thy mercy. My heart shall rejoice in thy salvation. I will sing unto the Lord, because he hath dealt bountifully with me. Psalm 13 opens with a soul-stirring question. How long, O Lord, will you forget me forever? These words are raw, unfiltered. They come from the heart of a man who once stood boldly before Goliath, yet now trembles in the silence of heaven. David doesn't hold back his sorrow. His cry echoes the pain of anyone who has prayed and waited, begged and wept, yet heard nothing. David asks, how long? 4 times in just the first 2 verses. That repetition is not just poetic, it's desperate. He pleads, how long will you hide your face from me? In biblical language, to have God's face shine upon you means favor, blessing, presence. To feel his face hidden, though, that feels like abandonment. Next, David says, how long shall I take counsel in my soul, having sorrow in my heart daily? He's talking about internal wrestling. When God seems silent, we often turn inward, replaying our fears, reasoning with our emotions, questioning our decisions. But David says this, self-counsel only brings daily sorrow. Without God's voice, our inner voice becomes loud and heavy. Then David says, how long will my enemy be exalted over me? Now, the trial feels external. It's not just emotional or spiritual, it's situated. David feels defeated. He is tired, vulnerable, and surrounded. But then verse 3, a shift. David doesn't give up or walk away. He prays, consider and hear me, O Lord my God. This isn't resignation, it's revival. David moves from lament to request. He asks God to look at him, to listen, and to enlighten his eyes. That phrase, enlighten my eyes, is profound. It means, restore my vitality. Give me light so I can see clearly. Again, then David voices his fear. Lest I sleep the sleep of death. He's saying, if you don't come through, God, I don't think I'll survive this. It's not a metaphor, it's a cry for rescue from spiritual, and possibly literal, despair. David continues, lest my enemies say, I have prevailed against him, lest those who trouble me rejoice when I am moved. His fear isn't just for personal comfort, it's about God's name. If David fails, his enemies won't just mock him, they'll mock his God. David is interceding for more than himself. He's crying out on behalf of God's glory. Then comes one of the most beautiful pivots in Scripture. But I have trusted in your mercy. That's the turning point. David is still in the storm. God hasn't spoken yet. But David reaches for what he knows, beyond what he feels. The Hebrew word for mercy here is ches, God's covenant love. It's loyal love, steadfast love. David declares, I've trusted in your faithful love, even when I don't feel it. Then he says, my heart shall rejoice in your salvation. Future tense. David doesn't see the salvation yet, but he declares it's coming. He's choosing faith over feelings, praise over panic. And the psalm ends with this triumphant note, I will sing to the Lord, because he has dealt bountifully with me. What a shift, from sorrow to song, from darkness to declaration. David remembers the past faithfulness of God and uses that memory to fuel his present praise. Let's pause here and reflect on the structure of this psalm. It starts with lament, moves into prayer, and ends with trust and praise. This is a model for us. When we go through seasons of silence, we can cry out honestly, ask God boldly, and still end in worship. The journey of Psalm 13 is one that every believer takes sooner or later. Now let's consider the broader biblical context. David's cry of how long wasn't unique. The prophets cried it, the exiles wept it. Even Jesus, in his humanity, echoed it when he said, my God, why have you forsaken me? The Bible doesn't hide these cries, it records them to show us we're not alone. Psalm 13 gives us permission to feel deeply and speak truthfully with God, but it also calls us to anchor ourselves in his character. God may be silent, but he is never absent. His silence is not indifference, it's often preparation, and his delay is not denial, it's the setting for a greater glory. When David said, he has dealt bountifully with me, he reminded himself and us that, even in silence, God is working. Even in sorrow, God is writing a redemptive story. So if you're watching this and you're in a how long season, don't give up. Don't stop praying. Don't stop trusting. Do what David did, moving through the pain. Cry out, make your request, and declare your trust. Because at the end of the day, Psalm 13 doesn't leave us in the darkness. It leads us back to praise. Let Psalm 13 be your prayer today. Speak it aloud. Let its rhythm become your rhythm. And may the God who heard David hear you too. He always does.